guys, welcome back to my channel. As I stated in my last video, I wanted to do a video about the reasons why I want to move back to Houston and what kind of happened the last time I moved to Houston. So if you're interested, please stay tuned. So as I stated, I did move to Houston prior, about a year and a half ago, to about 2 years ago. It was in 2016, so 2 years ago, and it didn't work out right. On my way to Houston, I had actually thought I had a position, and I got an email literally on my drive to Houston that they went with another candidate, which I was devastated. And I ended up contacting the district HR manager of the company that I was trying to work for, and I told them what was going on. And I had applied for other positions and I kind of wasn't getting no luck, and some of the people were kind of rude. She actually helped me get a position with the company. Well, the problem with that position was that they were like, okay, well, we can't match the pay that you were making, which I knew I was not going to get what I was actually making. I just didn't know that they were going to lowball me as what they did, because I had experience. I worked the job just so I can have a job for a little bit, but I had ended up applying for a bank and got the position and, went to the bank. Now, the problem with the bank was that they were part-time. And when I got the job, I did apply for full-time job, but when they placed me at the bank, they told me, well, since you don't have experience in, banking, you have to be part-time. And I was like, okay, whatever. So I just assumed that was just their policy. Well, come to find out, it wasn't. What happened was the area that I was working in was a predominantly Hispanic area, and they wanted the person that worked full-time to be Hispanic, which they didn't tell me that, obviously. And how I figured this out was because someone had got hired right after me with no banking experience at full-time, but they were bilingual. Long story short, that whole situation was not the right fit for me. The apartment that I was in at the time, I had a horrible bug issue, and I ended up getting mice, and someone tried to break into my apartment while me and my children were in the apartment. So I decided to move. And I literally, when someone tried to break into my apartment, 3 days later, I was gone. So I ended up driving my children back to California for the winter break, and I came back to Houston to try to find better employment and also another place to stay. Well, I ended up staying with a friend for about a month or so, but her boyfriend was there, and he was always there. And when I was there, she would be at work and he would have his friends over, and I just was not comfortable with that. And I ended up staying in a hotel, moving into a hotel. Now, I did find employment working for a temp agency at a warehouse, which sucked. Like, that job sucked. And they were just rude and just had no consideration for their employees, and it was horrible. But it was a job, and I needed a job so I could find a place. Then I ended a second job working at a lash company as a front desk person. And again, both of these jobs paid little to nothing, but again, with both of the incomes, that was going to help me get a place. Well, I just was not having no luck getting an apartment. Like, it was always something. And I don't know about, in other states, but in Houston, they have all these different fees. In California, they don't have all these fees to apply for an apartment, but they have admin fees, application fees, and this fee, and holding fees. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I don't have all this money. So it's like, when you're applying for an apartment, you need to be selected. You can only apply for one apartment. Really, for my budget, it was one apartment. So I just couldn't. I couldn't find an apartment. Then I had this guy helping me get an apartment, and he kind of messed up on my application, and that was a whole situation, and I lost money at that. So by the time all this happened, all my little money that I had to get an apartment, it was gone. And mind you, I was still living in a hotel, so I was paying about almost $300 a week to stay in a hotel. So just the whole situation was bad. Like, it wasn't the right time. And I will say this, I knew it was not the right time for me to move when I moved, but I wanted to move so bad that I just was like, whatever, I don't care what nobody gonna say. I'm gonna move, and it's gonna work out. Which, that's not the case. That's not what happened, y'all. It was bad. Like, the signs were there before I even got in my car and started driving to Houston. So, needless to say, I ended up getting a phone call from my original company that I was working for, asking me that I want to come back home and take this position. And I told them, let me think about it. I'll call you back. And I literally, sitting in my hotel room, had a come to Jesus moment. Like, Melanie, what are you thinking about? You're living in a hotel. Your kids are not with you. Your car is about to be repossessed. What are you thinking about, girl? They're offering you a full-time job with good benefits, with decent pay. What is there to think about? Because you want to be in Houston? Girl, get your life together. So I got my life together. They offered me the position. I accepted. Within 2 weeks, 2 weeks, I quit my job. And I had already quit the warehouse job because that was not a good work environment for me. But I quit the lash company. I actually moved out the hotel, went back to my friend's house, and just toughed it out for a week because that was going to save me some money instead of living in the hotel, because I was going to also need to get my car maintenance. So I couldn't afford to live in a hotel and get my car maintenance and do all that. Yeah, I drove back home and I came up with a game plan, literally driving back home. And I said, okay, God, help me come up with a game plan. For one, and that's what I did. I came up with a game plan. And I've been back in California since late April of 2017. And here we are in 2019. I'm still here, but I'm getting closer. I did accrue a lot of debt when I moved to Houston. Quite a bit of debt when I moved to Houston. So I am trying to settle those debts so that I could be debt free when I move to Houston this time. Also, I'm also, building my savings account, managing my finances better this time around, because the first time I was clearing out my debt, but I wasn't saving like I should. And I kind of assumed that, everything will be fine when I get to Houston. I'll get a good job, or the job I'm at now, I'm a grow in and whatever. I just assumed all these things were going to happen, and that's not the case. Like, it was a total fail, y'all. And I'm not going to even call it a fail. It was a learning experience. And I didn't do a lot of research the first time. Like I said, I made a lot of assumptions that everything was just going to fall in place, and I'm gonna be great. And no, it wasn't. It wasn't great. It was horrible. It was horrible. So, this time around, my game plan is totally different. I have a savings goal. Also, I'm tackling my debt, and I'm also doing a lot of research on areas in Houston, schools, jobs. And I also got my cosmetology license in Texas, so that's a backup plan for me. So that, if I move and just something was to happen with the company that I'm with now, because I'm supposed to stay with the company I'm with now. That is the plan, that I'm going to stay in my same position, and then I'm just going to relocate. But in the past, we all know, as I told you, that's not how it always go. So I'm planning on, if that's not the case, I will have something to fall back on. And I do currently do hair as of right now. I just do it part-time, and that money is going towards my savings or paying off a bill. Here's why I want to move back to Houston. Yes, I know some of you guys like, oh my God, you had a terrible experience. Why do you want to chance that happening to you again? Well, again, like I said, it was poor planning on my part, and I'm way more educated this time around. And also, my main reason is that it's a better quality of life. I live in California. I live in the Bay Area, and it's very expensive. Like, you guys, I make decent amount of money. If I was living in Houston, my money would get me very far. But living here, I still have to live with my mom because there's no way I can afford a mortgage, even rent. A little 2-bedroom apartment with 1 bathroom is $3,200. Like, why would I pay that? So, again, I'm a single parent and I have a lot of responsibilities behind me. So, I feel like, in order to achieve my goals in life and, put my kids in great schools, because also in the area that I'm in, after elementary, there's no good schools in this area. Houston has some really good schools that are in decent areas that I don't have to pay, $3,200 for my rent just for my kids to go to a decent school. And they also have tons of charter schools that are highly rated, that have great scores. So that is one of the main reasons why I'm moving, and also the quality of life. I feel like no one should have to work 80 hours a week just to afford their basic living expenses. Like, I just don't think that's a great quality of life. Now, I'm not knocking California. Born and raised here, but I knew since I was a junior in high school that I did not want to live in California. I've been saying this all my life that I did not want to live in California. My main reasons is just for a better quality of life. I want to be able to be more involved in my kids' school, come home and actually, cook a full dinner instead of on my days off and on the weekends or whatever, because that's the only time I really get to cook for them, because I commute to work, and by the time I get home, it's time for them to get ready for bed. So my mom has already, my mom doesn't cook like that anymore. So she'll buy them McDonald's or Wendy's, and I don't want them eating out every day. So, or they'll eat something really quick in the house, like a sandwich or something. And that's not, what I'm really about. I want to be able to come home, cook dinner for my kids. It don't have to be every night, but at least a few nights out the week, more active in their schooling. I want to be able to, come up to the school and volunteer and all that stuff. I can't do that where I'm at right now due to the fact that I have to commute and because of the hours that I work. And the hours I work is because I need the money. I work sometimes 10 hours a day. So, yeah, that's my story. That's my reasons for wanting to move to Houston, and that's a little story time for what happened the first time I was in Houston. And I will be doing videos on where I'm at in the process again and what steps I'm making to make sure this time around is a successful move. And yeah, that's it. So thanks for watching, you guys. Comment, like, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.